Hello and good evening if you're watching this live tonight at the start of May, Tuesday the 3rd of May 2022 as I record this. Hope you've all had a wonderful weekend. I certainly got the chance to go out and visit the Bluebell Woods, which were absolutely stunning and absolutely beautiful, and just the smell of the bluebells, it was so lovely. So I hope you had a fabulous weekend in whatever you chose to do. Hope you got to enjoy it, have some rest, spend time with family or friends, or doing hobbies that you enjoy. Now here we are, beginning of May, and gosh, 4 months into the year already. And as you may now know, I am doing these live talks on my Facebook group every other week. And on the other weeks, I'm doing a topic called Nutrition in the News. Topical things that I pick up on the news, and I'll give you my opinion on what I think about the different health, nutrition related subjects that I'm hearing about. And don't forget, if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, or if you're not aware and you may not know that I record all of these and they go into my YouTube channel, Peyton Principles Natural Health. Please, please, please come over, subscribe to my channel. You won't miss any of the videos. Please tell others about it. I've got well over 100 videos on all sorts of topics sitting in my YouTube channel now. So today I thought I'd review the area around supplements. I found the latest statistics for 2021 that showed that the UK market in sale of supplements is worth almost £500 million now. So clearly people are recognising the need to supplement. People may not always think about or understand about which supplements they may need, but people are certainly understanding that in order to look after their health, they may need additional support, they may need additional supplements to do that. And long ago, 30 years ago, there was a particular scientist who said that supplementation and using supplements is just expensive urine. And I really want to put that to bed. I want to explain why taking supplements is not expensive urine and why it's a really, really good investment in your health longer term. I've come up with 10 reasons that we need to think about as to why we may not always be getting the nutritional content that we need from the food that we eat compared to a century ago, based on either the food we're eating or our lifestyle. Both of these are compounding factors in our ability to reach the nutritional status that we need to support our body into older age. And let's face it, compared to a decade ago, yes, we are living longer and longer, but we're not necessarily living in a better and healthier way. More people are subject in its own right in terms of the number of medications that people are taking as they reach old age. And I'm surely all of us, and those of you subscribed to my YouTube channel or watching this in my Facebook group, are very much conscious of the fact that we want to support our health to the best that we can, have optimal health to avoid longer term chronic conditions developing. So again, in no particular order, I'm going to give you my top 10 reasons why we do need to supplement and why we can no longer rely on eating the best food that we can possibly buy. And even if you follow all the advice that I put out, and I hope that you do as much as you possibly can, why it may not always give you the optimum nutrition that you need. So number one, intensive farming practices. The soil that we have today, that our foods are grown in, our plants, our vegetables, our fruit, even our grains are grown in, is nutritionally depleted compared to the 1950s. The data on mineral levels in our vegetables between 1930 and 1988, I think it was, or 1980, in that sort of 50-year period, showed an absolutely significant decline in our mineral levels. Calcium declined by 46%, copper by 76%, sodium by 49%, iron by 27%, magnesium by 24%. These are significant reductions. So ounce on ounce, plant, portion of vegetables of broccoli compared to the 1950s, you are not nearly going to get the same mineral content from those vegetables that you did all those years ago. We cannot get the nutritional status from those foods that we did compared to our parents or our parents' parents. And in addition to that, there's widespread use of pesticides, and fertilizers and herbicides that are also putting an additional burden onto our bodies if they're non-organic. And I appreciate, buying organic is an expensive choice to make. Buying non-organic, the addition of all these chemicals, that creates an additional demand on our body to process that through the liver. So that's number one. My second one is with regards to our vegetables and fruit that we're buying from the supermarket. If you're very, very careful, you might try and choose UK grown vegetables and fruit. But, our demands, our consumer demands of wanting fresh fruit and product available all year round, not just buying seasonally, has resulted, and also wanting more exotic things that we didn't used to get, has resulted in us buying fruit and vegetables that are grown a very, very long way away. And the sooner they are picked, harvested, stored, put in sort of very cooled environments, starts to deplete the nutritional content, particularly the sort of water soluble B vitamins and especially vitamin C. By the time you eat these foods, having bought them from a supermarket and then stored them yourself at home, the amount of vitamin C and other nutrients from that has really declined significantly compared to if you grow it in your own garden, or possibly if you go to a farmer's market and you buy things from there. I found out that the length of time from harvest to when things arrive in our supermarket, or certainly by the time it arrives on our plate cooked, can be anything from 10 days to 10 weeks, depending on the type of thing that you might be buying. I had absolutely no idea that something could be around for 10 weeks before it ends up on my plate. So you can imagine the amount of decline in the nutritional content once this plant, whether it's green beans or tomatoes, once it's been plucked from the original plant that's in the soil, that decline in those nutrients is happening all the time. We've then got to think about the microorganisms in our soil. And I love to talk about the microbiome and the microorganisms that are within us. But let's not forget the microorganisms in the soil that are providing benefits to the nutritional content in the soil. And those microorganisms are also helping the uptake of minerals into the plants and helping to produce things like nitrogen and phosphates into the soil that are really, really important to help the plants grow healthily when we're thinking about vegetables. Now, pesticides and herbicides are also damaging this really delicate microorganism culture in the soil and depleting the microorganisms, just like we're finding chemicals are depleting the microorganisms in our own gut. So it's another reason why the mineral availability in the soil is declining, because of the lack of microorganisms to optimally produce the mineral levels needed and for the mineral uptake into the plant itself. Now, number 4, I want to talk about the food manufacturing industry. We may all do our best to eat good quality fruit, vegetables and fresh meats or eggs or fish, but I'm sure we all buy some processed foods, even if it's only minimally processed. But processed foods, whether it's minimally processed or intensively processed, is going through manufacturing processes. Different chemical processes are going to have an impact on the nutritional status of that food. We only have to think about the refined grains that we buy. When we buy things like pizza or pie or pasta, then it's going to be having an impact on the nutritional status, because those refined grains, the white grains that are used to make those types of foods, have had the husk removed, and it's the husk that contains high levels of B vitamins and high levels of magnesium and other things like that. So what we need to do is, when we're buying processed foods and you're buying things like that, be aware that you're not going to get any nutritional status really from eating white refined grains that are sort of minimally processed in that way, comparing something like a whole grain bread. And the reason why it's called whole grain is because it contains that husk. Now, other processes that go on in the food manufacturing industry, we've got heating and we've got cooling and freezing and canning processes and pasteurization, depending on what you buy. And each one of these are going to have an impact on the nutritional content of the food you buy. So do be aware of that. It's all going to reduce not just vitamins and minerals, but those really important phytonutrients, those special plant-based compounds that pass on the benefits from the plant to us when we consume them. Number 5 is about our stressful lifestyles. You know, I talk a lot about stress and the impact it has on our body, but when we think about the nutritional demands it places on us, it's quite significant. Every time we are asking our adrenal glands to supply us with cortisol and adrenaline, that is putting huge demands on the adrenal glands for B vitamins, vitamin C, magnesium and zinc. The adrenal glands are utilising more vitamin C than anywhere else in the body. So if the body is busy trying to focus on producing stress hormones, it's going to deplete the amount of these nutrients that are available for all the other processes that we need in the body. So just be aware of that. What can you do to reduce the stress in your life? It's another subject in its own right. But what will happen is it's not your stress hormones that will suffer, it's all the other processes and organs and cells in the body that aren't going to get those important nutrients at a time when you're highly, highly stressed. The next one is to think about poor eating habits. Now, not many of us think about appreciating the importance of eating as an activity in its own right. You know, I talk about digestive symptoms a lot, but when we are not eating in a relaxed manner, when we don't sit down to eat our meals, when we don't think about eating mindfully, we don't think about chewing our food, we're not going to get those important digestive secretions that we need in the stomach and the small intestines to optimally break down our food. And if we don't optimally break down our food, we're going to end up not properly taking all the nutritional content from our food. We're going to end up with partially broken down food, and that has its own ramifications in the gut, but it stops us being able to extract all the vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients from the food and effectively take that and absorb it up into the bloodstream, and some of that could be eliminated out of the body. So digestion is just so important in every aspect, but thinking about being able to extract all the nutrients we need from our food. So, you know, you could be eating all those great quality foods, but are you eating in the best way to be able to produce the digestive secretions to help extract all those nutrients from your food? Number 7 is about mineral depleters. I've talked about this before, but mineral depleters are those compounds that are found in certain foods that combine to certain minerals, specifically things like iron, zinc, calcium, magnesium. It could bind to other minerals as well. And when it binds to those minerals in the gut, it will extract them and eliminate them from the body. That's not to say you're not going to get any minerals from your food, but you're going to severely impact the amount of minerals that again is available from the food to be taken up into the bloodstream and utilized by the body. So what am I talking about here? I'm talking about things like phytates that you can find in grains, and in pulses. What can you do? You can buy sprouted grains, you can buy sourdough bread, which has gone through a fermentation process that helps to reduce the phytate content. You can eat pulses, but you shouldn't really eat them every day because of the phytic acid that these pulses contain. I know this becomes more difficult for vegetarians and vegans, but unfortunately, this is a factor that we need to be aware of. We've then got things like oxalic acid that we find in rhubarb and spinach. And the best way to help reduce the amount of oxalic acid is not to eat raw spinach leaves, but to eat spinach that has been cooked, because that helps to reduce the amount of oxalic acid. We've then got compounds like, sorry, just looking at my notes again. I think I've said them all. Oh, yes, phosphoric phosphatic acid that we find in sparkling drinks. I won't name the brands and the types of drinks, like the colas in this world. And what that does again is bind to the minerals. So those are really occasional treats if you like them. I don't like them. I even struggle to swallow sparkling drinks. They're just far too fizzy for me. Tannins and caffeine really can inhibit not only digestive secretions, but binding to minerals in the gut, inhibiting them. So just don't drink them close to meal times. So yeah, those are the key mineral depleting compounds that we need to be aware of. Number 8, medications. Now we all have a need for certain medications. I'm not saying stop your medications, but do go and have a look at the information sheets if you're on any medication, or do your own little bit of research online about this to see what you can find. But certain medications do increase the need for certain nutrients. So any ladies, if you're taking the oral contraceptive pill, it increases the need for zinc. If you use aspirin, it increases the need for vitamin C. If you're on certain types of blood pressure medication, it may increase the need for potassium. Stomach acid suppressors, things like proton pump inhibitors like omeprazole, lansoprazole, well, those in their own right are going to make it much harder for the body to absorb the minerals that we've already spoken about. So do go away, have a look at your medications. I'm not telling you to stop medications. That's a subject for you to have with your own GP, but just to be aware of, do you need additional support, nutritional support, if you're taking certain medications. Number 9, antibiotics. I can't finish this talk without talking about the impact on the gut of antibiotics. I think we all know about the dangers today of antibiotics and the impact that has on the commensal beneficial in the gut, those bacteria in the gut. Originally, we used to think that if you took antibiotics, it could take 2 years to help to improve those levels of beneficial bacteria, because antibiotics are not selective. They can't just go in and target the bacteria that are harmful to the body. They're going to have an impact on those beneficial ones as well. They're just not selective enough. So they impact all the commensals. But the latest research, I understand, and I don't want to alarm you, is actually that every time we take antibiotics, we could end up destroying some of our precious bacteria, and we may never get them back again. Now, bearing in mind that we have, thousands of different species of gut bacteria, and we can't undo what's already happened. But if you do take antibiotics, it's so important to think about taking really good quality, high strength probiotics for at least a month, alongside at different times of day, and the month after having used antibiotics, of a good sort of dosage of 20 billion really good quality probiotic supplements. And finally, smoking and alcohol consumption. I know that smoking really depletes levels of vitamin C in the body, and B vitamins and beta carotene. Tobacco also contains cadmium, and it displaces zinc and selenium. It puts additional demands on the body for all of those nutrients. And alcohol can deplete zinc, B vitamins, magnesium and potassium through its diuretic effect in the body. So hopefully I've highlighted for you 10 really important reasons why, living in today's 21st century, why we really cannot afford to avoid the need for supplementing good quality multivitamin and mineral supplements, potentially probiotics from time to time, possibly vitamin C as a separate nutrient, to really support the body, keep it as optimally healthy as we possibly can, alongside all the good work you do through your diet. Trying to support it, trying to sort of stave off more chronic conditions that develop as we get older, heading towards older age, helping to keep us in tip-top health for as long as we possibly can. So thank you for watching today. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another topic for my Principles of Good Health series, but I will be back next Tuesday for my Nutrition in the News series that I'm also doing every other week. Thanks for listening tonight, or whenever you're watching this, and have a lovely week. Take care.